Good day and welcome to our discussion for today. This is SS031, Understanding the Self, and our lecture for today is a very sensitive topic, but I do hope that we will be learning a lot from this. Welcome to our lecture. This is the Sexual Self. If you dare here, we will discuss sexuality from an academic and scientific perspective, relevant to our understanding of who we are, so we may know better how to take care and protect ourselves, even those we love. Now, sexuality is commonly defined as the ways people experience and express themselves as sexual beings. There are two key words in this definition. One, sexuality is defined as the ways people what? Experience, and second, express themselves as sexual beings. So when we speak of sexuality, it is both an experience and an expression of as sexual beings. Now, a central aspect of being human throughout life encompasses the following: sex, gender identities and roles, sexual orientation, eroticism, pleasure, intimacy, and reproduction. You see, our view about sexuality is heavily affected by our education, our occupation, our income, economics, the laws of the land, politics, history, media, society, culture, and religion. You see, sex education is not really to promote sexual intercourse, but what is important here is that we will be promoting good sexual health from sexual violence. Let us then define what sex and gender is. Sex refers to a person's characterization as a female or male at birth, typically based on the appearance of external genitalia or other biological characteristics, including chromosomes. On the other hand, gender refers to social characteristics that may or may not be aligned with a person's sex and adopted by an individual as their identity. You see, it's natural for everyone to become more sexually aware, but sexual awareness doesn't necessarily mean that you are to have sex. It all starts in puberty, where we are experiencing a lot of changes in our physical bodies. Now, puberty defined is one of those 1 to 3 year processes of hormonal and physical change that causes the young person to reach sexual maturity, where girls usually enters it about a year or two. Emotional region of the brain develops maturity ahead of the part controlling the rational thought. And this emotional part of the brain is what we call again as the amygdala. Now, since most teenagers are not oriented on the drastic transformations and temporary emotional takeover, what usually result to? The truth is, all adults have gone through puberty, but not all adults have gone through education. And we also will be looking at the topic of erogenous zones. Now, these are hot spots in the body which, if we are going to touch this, will arouse sensations in individuals. Now, information on erogenous zones are relevant and are beneficial not only for sexual excitement, but also for protection. We have to protect ourselves because there are predators out there who know about these erogenous zones, and if we are not aware, we might not know that we are already sexually being violated. Now, we all need to be aware of the importance of how to take care of ourselves, to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and the young children from the reality that we are still working on eradicating, and that sexual is violence. Now, as defined by the World Health Organization, sexual violence is any sexual act, attempt to obtain a sexual act, unwanted sexual comments or advances, or acts of traffic, or otherwise directed against a person's sexuality using coercion by any person regardless of their relationship to the victim in any setting, including but not limited to and work. You will see here the forms and context of sexual violence happening around the world as listed by the World Health Organization. You have rape, unwanted sexual advances or sexual harassment, sexual abuse of mentally or physically disabled people. You got sexual abuse or molestation of children, forced marriage or cohabitation, including the marriage of children. Also included here is the denial of the right to use contraception or to adopt other measures to protect against sexually transmitted diseases. Forced abortion, violent acts against the sexual integrity of women, including female genital mutilation or female circumcision, and obligatory inspections for virginity, and lastly, forced prostitution and trafficking of people for the purpose of exploitation. In our own ways, we can prevent sexual violence by being aware, also by being vigilant but not paranoid, and also we have to filter what ideas we expose ourselves to. And lastly, and most definitely, we need to talk to people who can help. Now, if the audience are not high media literate, concepts of healthy safe sex, morality, and even love could be blurred and become double standard. And here, we will try to understand sexual responses. According to Fisher, falling in love is stronger than the sex drive, meaning love is almost uncontrollable, but sex drive is definitely controllable. He said that we are drawn to certain people not only for cultural reasons such as socioeconomics, intelligence, and values, but also for biological reasons. This was at least taken from the book of Samosky in 2009 in the book In Love, The Stronger Sex Drive. Now, there are three stages of romantic love: lust, and attachment. Now, to be able to maintain dopamine and oxytocin, couples need to keep trying something new together. Eat food, go to movies, have hobbies, they can travel. And they also have to spend time with each other and feel each other's warmth through gentle touch, holding of hands, hugging, and others. Now, according to Maslar in her TED Talk, the right time for a female to agree to have sex with her male partner is when he commits. And this commitment never happens on the first date. Neuroscience backs up the claim of most of our elders' advice for a better and long-lasting relationship. Now let's proceed with our discussion on the diversity of sexual orientation. You see, being able to respect diversity can help in effective, ethical, relational, and professional communication. We will define sexual orientation first. Now, sexual orientation refers to our sexual preferences towards males, females, or both. While when we speak of gender identity, this is one's concept of being male, female, both, or neither, and is entirely determined by socialization or nurture and not by biological factors or nature. You see, in the acronym LGBT, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, L, G, and B pertain to sexual orientation. On the other hand, letter T in LGBT, which stands for transgender or gender non-conforming, pertains to identity. A transgender is different from a transsexual. A transsexual is one who transitions from one sex to another through undergoing several procedures. Sexual orientation, sexual behavior, and gender identity are independent concepts, and all of these could be fluid or changing. Of course, we also have to discuss the concept of risky sexual behaviors. And on your screen right now are possible risky sexual behaviors, which are the following. Number one, having more than one sexual partner is a risky sexual behavior. Number two, changing sexual partners frequently is also a risky sexual behavior. So weekly or monthly. Also, having oral, vaginal, or anal sexual contact without a condom is also considered a risky sexual behavior, and using unreliable methods of birth control or using birth control consistently. You know, there are a lot of cases of human immunovirus right now in our country. Now, the infographic that you are seeing on your screen right now is actually a very late report. But what we have to understand is that we really have to be very careful about risky sexual behavior so that we will not be victims. Now, in all of these, what we have to understand is that sex education, again, and let me emphasize that this is not to promote sexual intercourse, but number one, to promote good sexual health, and lastly, but definitely not to say that this is not important, because this is very important. We do sex education for our own safety, from our sexual violence, but not only ours, but those whom we love. And that wraps up our discussion on self. Enter if you dare.